Welcome to the Manly Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Manley, and this podcast was created with you and I in mind. God put it upon my heart going into 2025 that He wanted to rebuild and revitalize the voice of men, to restore it. That means that both you and I have to discover that voice that God has given to us, that strong voice of manhood. So please like and subscribe to the channel. You can find this podcast on Apple, also Spotify, Podcastle, Instagram, and YouTube. That's at Manly Lifestyles. If you're searching on YouTube, you'll find at Manly Lifestyles. Where you'll specifically find all my content that I post there, which I believe God will use to bless you immensely. So let's go ahead and jump into this. The topic today is the importance of prioritization. Again, the importance of prioritization. Let's start with the definition of it. Very simple, simplistic. Let's get right at it. So it is the ability to set one thing as being more important to you than another. Point period, the end. The ability to set one thing as being more important to you than another. Now, the importance is that, unfortunately, we as men oftentimes aren't able to implement this for various reasons, but we have to understand that there's a clear definition of it, and then understand what are the challenges to being able to actually prioritize effectively so we can do what God has called us to do. So every man must prioritize. The things that I'm speaking of, you'll find that many of these things are vital to manhood. All of these things are vital to manhood. But we have to understand that this is not just words. This is not just language being spoken. These are core foundational things. I believe that God has given me things that can help build and rebuild a foundation for men as we press forward. So this is another brick in the building that's being built. Men have to prioritize. We must prioritize. It is absolutely essential. If we don't prioritize, then the people around us, our families, our wives, our children, they are impacted. So prioritization. So again, we must find the place. We have to prioritize. A couple of things to look at here. Prioritization aligns you with the divine purpose that God has set for your life. Again, it aligns you. So when you are prioritizing, it is aligning you with what God has called you to do. Now, this is a two-part series. Forgive me, I didn't mention that earlier, but it is a two-part series. This will be the importance of it. I'll then follow this up with the why, not the why, but the how. So this will go through the basics of it, but this will be followed up by the how of how do you specifically prioritize. Again, it may sound simple, but I'd say 95% of the population does not prioritize effectively. We do not do it. So that means that it's incumbent upon us to understand what are the roadblocks, what are the challenges, and how can we effectively become those who prioritize in the right way. So we have to understand that it aligns us with the work, with the thing that God has called us to do. There's many stories in the Bible where God gave individuals things that He wanted them to do or accomplish in the earth. And because they did not prioritize effectively, they allowed other things to become the dominant thing they were pursuing. And because of that, it derailed them. I don't want you to be derailed. I want you to hit the toll post that God has set for your life. And so it requires that you prioritize. And again, that will align you. When you do it effectively, when you do it right, it's like what God says. He says, seek first the kingdom. When you do that, you align everything in your life so that you can hit the right mark and not hit a mark that God never intended for you to hit, because we get drawn away by various things. So we have to be able to do that. Next thing here is that it enables you to have clarity of purpose and sight. It enables you to have clarity of purpose and sight. Extremely important. I've seen in my own life for a number of years where I can get either just overworked, stressed, all of that can just add on, and it compiles on each other, and it adds on, it builds and builds, and oftentimes the root is not having prioritization. I'll be the first to raise my hand. I've been there. So it is important that we understand that it enables you to have clarity of purpose and sight. There's a great book that I constantly go back to. I will always stick with this book. It's an incredible book. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the things that it teaches is the ability to find the things that are important to you, but not only find them, because most people can find them. The difficulty is executing on that. So we say we want to do these things and we want to be this and all of that, but we fail to put things in place that will actually propel us in those directions. God wants us to be those who actually are able to prioritize effectively and actually hit the mark, what God's called us to do. So we have to it enables us to have clarity of purpose and sight. Very, very, very important when it comes to prioritization. And the next thing here is that it fuels effectiveness in life. We want to be effective. You want to be effective. I want to be effective. I don't think anyone wants to be ineffective, but we have to measure what we are doing and what we are putting time to. Because if we're putting time to things that are not producing, then it will lead to error. It'll lead to ineffectiveness. But if we take the time to truly understand how we're prioritizing and do it effectively, that's when we can really hit our mark. So your life will be completely ineffective without prioritization. It is absolutely essential that you prioritize. Have to do it. There is no exception to that. We have to prioritize as men. Otherwise, what happens oftentimes, and people talk a lot about work-life balance, and I know I'm speaking to a lot of guys who are in the workforce. People talk about that thing, but the reality is that we can put so many hours into our job, for example, and lose sight of our family. We lose sight of our wife, we lose sight of our children. And what happens oftentimes is that children are raised and they don't see their father very often because daddy's out doing the job and earning lots of money and bringing that home, but not spending time, not cultivating his children. And so those children are raised and they get to a point in life where they have missed out on one of the things that is so absolutely essential and crucial, which is the involvement of their father. And you see the effects of it later down the road. There's resentment, there's bitterness, there's anger. All these things can compile up. And so it's important that we go back to the place of prioritization. Men have to prioritize. Absolutely essential that we do that and we do it effectively. And it is the only way to lead an effective life. You have to be able to prioritize in order to lead an effective life. So again, this is just looking at the importance of it. I'll follow this up with the how. How do you live a life that has prioritization? How do you prioritize effectively when you're working a job? How do you prioritize with your family? We'll look at some of those things here, but I'm very excited that we are able to lay a foundation of the importance so that we understand the why behind the prioritization and implementing that in our lives. So guys, I appreciate you. Come back this next time and we'll look at the how. Bless you guys. I'll talk to you soon.